Want to hear one of the most awkward workplace stories on Reddit? Stay tuned. This story started as a harmless joke, but it spiraled completely out of control, so you will not want to miss what I'm about to read. I've been telling people at work that I'm a Leo, which I'm actually not, in an attempt to create a long con prank to prove to them that astrology is utter bullshit. But my plan is getting out of hand, and I don't think I can follow through on my big reveal. I think astrology is one of the dumbest, most unscientific things you could believe in. Honestly, I would judge someone less for believing the earth is flat or for being a Scientologist. At least Scientology has an established lore written by a limited number of people, while anyone can write a horoscope for any small town newspaper and people still follow their local little blurb's advice. Anyway, there's a group of coworkers at my job that are really into astrology. They're always talking about signs, compatibility. It didn't work out because he's a Gemini, etc. Sometimes they talk about people at work and their personality traits based on their signs. When they asked me, I told them a fake birthday without knowing the sign associated with it. Turns out, I'm a Leo. They practically fell all over themselves saying how much sense it made. You have such a creative spirit, you're so generous, or my favorite, you're so vital. We're all pretty friendly, so I thought it would be funny to reveal later that I'm not a Leo at all and see how they'd react. Unfortunately, one of my bosses believes being a Leo makes me uniquely suited for various projects, and I've landed some good opportunities because of it. After a presentation to the clients, I was told that my Leo spirit helped the team through a tough deadline. Now, I'm genuinely worried someone will figure out my real birthday, since I work for a big company, and there's a chance some auto-generated email or post is going to congratulate the October birthdays. I'm stuck in a lie based on nonsense, and I'm not sure what to do. I'll probably never tell anyone at work, so I figured I'd tell strangers online in the hopes I don't get found out and face some weird disciplinary action. Imagine my boss firing me for pretending to be a Leo. That's such a Pisces thing to do. This story has a few edits. Here's number 1. I'm absolutely loving people saying that's such a Libra thing to do. It's just like a Libra to get into situations like this. I said I was born in October, but didn't specify the date. I'm not a Libra either. Edit number 2. People defending astrology by explaining the celestial movements. That's not the convincing argument you think it is. Edit number 3. Kidding, I am a Libra. So all those people saying that's so Scorpio, you're the ones that are in the wrong. Or is that what a Scorpio would say to throw you off the trail? Who knows? So maybe this is all an elaborate thought experiment. That's so Libra of me. Or is pretending I'm a Libra the Scorpio move? All right, let's take a look at what Reddit commenters had to say. Here's the first one. A lot of people could not believe how astrology was affecting work decisions. One user said, "Your boss gives you work opportunities based on your star sign? What kind of an unprofessional workplace do you work at?" Others could not stop laughing and they made hilarious comparisons to Seinfeld. Someone wrote, "This is a Seinfeld episode and this is George." That's just spot on. Number 3, a few commenters reflected on the situation seriously. One even said, "The boss knows that the OP, or original poster, lied about their sign and is pranking them back." It's a very interesting turn of events. And now, let's reveal the opinion of the internet. About 80% of the people thought the whole situation was hilarious and crazy. They saw it as a funny and relatable office moment. However, 15% were a bit concerned, thinking it was unprofessional to let astrology influence work decisions. This is a story of how one worker stood their ground despite heavy pressure from coworkers. Let's get into it. Am I the asshole for refusing to give up my vacation days so my coworker can go on her honeymoon? I work at a small company where vacation time is limited and requests must be made months in advance. I submitted mine almost a year ago for a 2-week vacation during the holidays to visit family who's abroad, which is a trip I rarely get to make. Recently, a coworker who's getting married asked me to give up my vacation days so that she can go on her honeymoon. She hadn't realized how quickly the schedule would fill up and missed her chance to request the time off. Since I booked the longest block, she came to me first. I apologized, but I explained, I can't give up my trip since it's the only chance I have to see my family this year. She accused me of being selfish and for not accommodating her once-in-a-lifetime event. Now, other coworkers are pressuring me, claiming that I should be more flexible because I don't have any special circumstances, such as a wedding. I feel bad, but I planned this trip far in advance, and it's deeply important to me. Am I the bad guy for not giving up my vacation? Alright, let's see what Reddit commenters had to say. The most common feedback was that the coworker should have planned her honeymoon earlier. One person said, "Procrastination on your part does not make it an emergency on mine." It seems most people feel that the worker should not have been expected to give up her time. There was also a lot of support for the worker's family trip, which was an important event. A 2-week vacation to see family abroad is a special circumstance, one comment said. But not everyone agreed. A small group said the worker could have been a bit more flexible for the honeymoon. One comment mentioned, "A honeymoon should come first." Well, here's the breakdown of the opinions. 85% of people said the worker did the right thing by not giving up her vacation. They argued it's unfair to ask her to cancel. Only about 15% thought that she could have been a bit more flexible. What do you think? Would you give up your vacation? Let us know in the comments below. I think I just found the most shocking couple story on Reddit. Alright, here's a story about a husband who has a wife about to give birth to twins, but he also has a work presentation. Does he do the right thing? Alright, here's a not too common situation. Someone asking, "Am I the asshole for leaving during my wife's labor?" Let's find out. My wife went into labor around 6 p.m. on a Sunday. We were expecting twins. It quickly became a very painful process. She kept cutting off the blood flow to my hand when she squeezed and nearly sprayed my shirt with vomit. Around 3 a.m., my dad called. I work for his company, and we had a presentation for clients on Monday morning that I had to prepare for. My dad knew that my wife was in labor, but he said I needed to rest for the meeting. He told me there was nothing I could do to help her, and that delivering the baby was overrated and not what people expected. The labor was progressing slowly, and we all thought she would need forceps or other assistance to deliver. I realized I couldn't help her, and my dad needed me. So I told my wife, "I have to leave." She screamed at me so loudly, a few nurses rushed over. I ended up doing the presentation, and it went well. Afterward, I saw text saying my wife delivered an hour ago at 10:30 a.m. They had to use forceps. I would have missed the meeting had I stayed. My dad has done everything for me, so I didn't want to let him down. Now my wife is still yelling at me. Saying she was alone when they destroyed her body. She even said her family would disown her if she divorced me, but that she doesn't consider me her husband right now. It's not going to be shocking, I guess, but let's see what Reddit commenters have to say. Emotional support and responsibility. People were furious about the lack of emotional support. You could have stayed and provided comfort even if you didn't physically help, one commenter said. It was clear that being there for your partner, especially during such a vulnerable time, was a huge part of what most people expected. The second biggest issue that people had was his clear choice to put work over family. Many people felt like he did this at the worst possible time. Work should never come before your wife and your children, others said. This move did not sit well with many people. A lot of commenters warned that this could ruin the relationship. One said, "If I were her, I'd be filing for divorce right then and there. It's hard for me to imagine how marriage can survive something like this without serious consequences." And now let's reveal the opinion of the internet. Alright, here are the numbers. Based on the comments, about 80% of people think the husband was completely wrong. Many called him out for abandoning his wife, and only 15% of people felt like it was not such a big deal. Some even said he had to work. The majority of people think that family should come first, no matter the career demands. Did this story make you think twice about your priorities? Comment down below what you think. Behind this card is one of the most boundary testing stories on Reddit I found. Today we're exploring a story about boundaries and how to get people to respect them. Let's dive in. Am I the asshole for locking my girlfriend out of the basement so I could eat in peace? I'm a 39-year-old male and my girlfriend is 41 years old. We lived together for a bit over a year in my house, and during this time I've gotten used to her de-stressing by complaining. Much of this is about other people in her life, such as her mother, former coworkers, but it's mostly about me and how I'm not meeting her expectations. I'm fine listening to her. A few months ago, her complaints became a lot more frequent. I don't mind, but one time I don't want to listen is when I'm eating. Breakfast isn't an issue because she's still asleep. And lunch is fine since I work 6 days a week and eat out. but I enjoy a quiet dinner. It's especially irritating when she gets upset if I don't answer her quickly while I'm chewing. She'll say, hello, hello, are you even listening? As I try to swallow my food quickly and answer. I brought this up a few months ago, explaining that I don't do well with talking during mealtime. If anything, it has the opposite effect. Now, it seems like she times her complaints to start right when I begin eating. While I'm making my dinner, she's quiet, but as soon as I sit down and take my first bite, she starts complaining. Last Saturday, I told her I could not deal with her complaining anymore, and that if it happened again, I would eat elsewhere. She responded, okay, fine. Then, as I took my first bite, she said, oh, by the way, today you kicked one of my shoes while you were putting yours on. It made me feel like you only care about your things and not mine. I stood up, went to the basement to eat, and locked the door behind me. I've done this every day since, and she'll sometimes bang on the door. Other times she demands I give her a key since I have the only one. Today she was crying and begging me to eat at the table, but I said no. Now she's threatening to take the door off its hinges while I'm at work, so that I'll have to lock it from the outside before going tomorrow. Am I in the wrong here? Let's see what Reddit commenters had to say. Abusive behavior. Many viewers are shocked by the girlfriend's actions. One comment reads, a partner who constantly complains and creates tension is emotionally abusive. They're suggesting her behavior crosses a line. Advice to leave. The majority of comments recommend that the man should leave the relationship. One user says, if your partner is threatening to take the door off, it's time to leave. Understanding his reaction, there's a few people that disagree. They say he could have talked to her before locking the door, but I get why he snapped. And now, the opinion of the internet. Let's talk numbers. Based on the comments, about 85% of people agree that the girlfriend's behavior is way out of line. Most think the guy should leave her, and some even suggest he should take legal steps if things arise. On the other hand, 10 to 15% believe the man could have handled things better. Have you ever been in a situation like this? What would you have done? Let us know in the comments. At the end of this story, you'll find out how leftover food can cause some serious drama. Let's go. Am I the asshole because I took all of the leftover food after a work party? I've worked at this company for 3 years, and my 3-year anniversary aligns with my significant other's proposing and with me getting promoted. I expected at least something from my coworkers, small party gifts, nothing fancy. I was pretty hurt when I came in that week and found nothing at all. There were some congratulations and well wishes, but that was it. I later poured my heart out to my significant other, expressing how uncared for I felt. He contacted one of my coworkers, who was soon to be my employee, and she went to my manager to set something up. They had a little buffet in the break room with the usual: veggie platter, dips, chips, cookies, tarts, brownies, and some banners. At the end of the day, I took the leftovers home, along with the plates and Tupperware they came in. The coworker texted me the next day asking if I took the sweets that she made along with the plates. I said yes, and she got very aggressive. She wanted to keep the leftovers in the break room for others that hadn't been able to attend the party. Nowhere did she say this was just for me. She also said she needed the platter back because she was making a birthday cake for her niece. My partner and I both agreed it was wrong for her to text me like that, and since it was my party and I wanted the leftovers, I deserved them. But she thinks I should apologize to keep the peace. I don't see the point of apologizing if I'm not wrong. There's an update to the story. Here we go. Stop saying I forced my partner to contact my coworker. That was his decision, and I never implied I approved or wanted him to do that. I tried to make my employees feel special and celebrate their achievements. I had higher expectations of them than I should have. That was my mistake. All right, let's take a close look at what Reddit commenters had to say. A lot of people felt that the original poster was wrong for taking everything home without asking. Some said it was inconsiderate, especially since the coworker had plans for the plates. One comment read, "It's a basic office courtesy to leave the leftovers for everyone. Don't just take everything for yourself." A few people thought the coworker overreacted. They said it wasn't a big deal and that the original poster had the right to take the food home. But this was definitely a minority group. As one person said, it's just leftovers. Why make a huge deal out of it? Some felt that the poster was unaware of office culture, especially since she was about to become a manager. They warned, this kind of behavior can damage your reputation. Taking the Tupperware, big mistake when you're about to lead a team. And here's the opinion of Reddit. Around 75% of the comments agreed that the actions were inconsiderate and unprofessional. Only 25% thought the coworker was being too harsh about the Tupperware. What do you think? Should she have left the leftovers or taken them home? Let us know in the comments below. Do you like this content? Subscribe. Hi everyone. Do you have a neighbor who pushes your boundaries sometimes? This story will leave you amazed. All right, here's the story. Someone's asking, am I the asshole for refusing to let a Karen neighbor use my pool when she demanded I follow her pool rules? I, a 34-year-old male, living in a suburban neighborhood with a decent-sized backyard and a pool, I've always been friendly with my neighbors, including a Karen, mid-40s female, who moved in next door about a year ago. She seemed nice at first, but over time, her behavior changed. Over the summer, Karen, might be her actual name, started coming over with their kids, asking if they could use the pool. At first I didn't mind, but soon she began showing up unannounced, even when I wasn't home. One day, I came home and found her and several friends hosting a party in my backyard. I confronted her and she just casually shrugged it off, saying, "You weren't using it, so I thought it was fine." I told her to ask first and she reluctantly agreed. Then, last week, she showed up at my door with a typed list of pool rules that she wanted me to follow, including no swimming after 5 p.m. because her kids have a strict bedtime. No loud music when her family is outside. Mandatory weekend access for her family, but only for them. I laughed, thinking she was joking, but she was dead serious. Of course, I refused to follow her rules, and she got angry. She called me selfish and ruined the neighborhood spirit. Now she's been spreading rumors, and some neighbors say I should let it go to avoid drama. But it's my pool, and she's acting like she owns it. There's a quick update to the story. Just to clarify, my backyard fence did not have a lock before. I've just installed one after some advice, and I already set up a camera, though it's not directionally focused at the pool. I installed a keypad lock on the fence to avoid another awkward conversation. Karen noticed immediately and was furious, calling me dramatic and accusing me of locking out the neighborhood kids. She wanted to know why I couldn't just let them use the pool like before. I told her I wanted control over who used my pool. It's my backyard, not a community park. I feel much better with the lock in place. It's awkward with Karen, but I'd rather have that than treat my backyard like a public pool. Thanks for all the support. All right, let's see what Reddit has to say. Many people agree that Karen went way too far by trying to take control of the man's pool. One commenter said, it's his property and she should respect his rules. She had no right to assume she could use it whenever she wanted. Some people gave advice on handling awkward situations. You've done enough. Don't let her walk all over you. It's your pool and your rules. Some people had mixed feelings. One person said, I get why he did it, but it could have grown the tension. Now let's reveal the opinion of the internet. A whopping 80% of the comments are siding with the man, agreeing that Karen was way out of line and he had every right to refuse her demands. 20% feel that installing the lock might have been a step too far. What do you think? Do you have a pool? Would you let your neighbors use it as if it's communal? Here's the story. I'm one of the good white people. I'm a 32-year-old male, white, and potentially in trouble at work. Though I don't feel I deserve it. My new coworker Anna, a 23-year-old woman of Asian descent, recently joined our office. She brings lunch on days when there's no food truck. On Thursday, she heated a homemade stir-fry in our shared microwave, and it smelled amazing. I complimented her on it and asked about the recipe. She mentioned it was a mix of ingredients to avoid waste. While telling people how good it smelled, I also mentioned that some people might find it too smelly or ethnic, referring to how people can be biased against ethnic foods. I'd read stories about microaggressions in similar situations, and I wanted to warn her so she wouldn't face that kind of treatment. I emphasized that I thought it smelled good. After she left the room, a few coworkers commented it was inappropriate for me to bring that up. I explained my intention, saying that the food from different cultures is sometimes unfairly judged or mocked, and I thought avoiding it could help her avoid harassment. One coworker said I was the one making it an issue, since she'd only started last week and hadn't had the time to be harassed. I was just trying to help her feel welcome, even if some people at the office might be biased. I didn't think much of it until the next morning when I heard that Anna had spoken to HR and she felt hurt by our conversation. I was frustrated she hadn't talked to me first, since I was just trying to look out for her. She seemed to avoid me today, which was sad. I genuinely wanted to be a friend, especially since this was one of her first jobs after undergrad. But now, coworkers think I'm a racist, even though I try hard to be an ally. I just didn't want her to experience negativity. There's an edit on this story, which goes, I get it, I'm the asshole. What I said was misguided. I remember starting my career and dealing with unkind people, and I didn't want her to go through that. But I ended up being like the people who made my early career miserable. I plan to apologize to her in a professional way on Tuesday, and hope she doesn't quit or that I don't get fired. Thank you all for helping me see things more clearly. Alright, so let's take a look at what the Reddit commenters had to say. Most commenters agree that his intentions do not excuse the impact of his words. One person summed it up perfectly. Even if you mean well, what you say still matters. Others pointed out that calling her food ethnic and suggesting it might be a problem only made things worse. A lot of people said that he was the one bringing bias into the situation, not protecting her from it. On the other hand, another group of people understood where he was coming from, but they still thought he handled it quite poorly. And now, drumroll please, let's reveal the opinion of the internet. 85% of people say that he was wrong, and his comment was completely inappropriate. 15% of people said he meant well, but he still made a mistake. That makes a full 100% of people who thought he's the asshole. The majority thinks he should have just complimented her food and left it at that. You have a different opinion? Please let us know in the comments below.